Hello everyone, Leslie Cornwell, Certified Nurse Midwife with Midwifery Business Consultation. This presentation has 50 different marketing ideas for midwives. Some of them are free, some of them just take time, and obviously your budget could go to any amount you want. So these are just great low budget startup ideas that I wanted to go through for everyone. The objectives of this course is just to really inspire midwives to think creatively. Anything is possible for marketing your midwifery practice. We're going to talk about networking opportunities. We're going to talk about simple, cost-effective ways to brand your business, things that may or may not be already part of your practice. The focus is more on the lower end budget options because I know as midwifery practices, once we get going and well established, most of it is a referral basis and we get to a volume we want to be at. But when you're starting out in new, marketing campaigns are really, really important. So these are common techniques, common suggestions I've seen all over the country that you can use for your midwifery practice. Why is marketing so important? I always stress when we make a business plan, we're doing a foundation, you're adding a service to your practice, you have to have an excellent marketing campaign. You could offer the best thing in the world, but if nobody knows you don't exist, how are you going to be able to sell that product, that service to the community? So you want to inform people, you want to equalize the level playing field, you want to sustain your practice, you want to take it to the next level. You want engagement with your clients, with your potential clients, with social media platforms. You want to make your marketing campaigns evolve and grow with time. You want to sell things, you want to sell your services, you want to sell products, you want to sell your branding, and then the growing it. Everybody doesn't typically want to just be a solo midwifery practice forever. They want to create a team, they want to have multiple offices, they want to expand to a community center, so you really want to have a good marketing plan in place. So these are some of the different ways that you can use marketing education. It informs, it tells consumers in a short, condensed way, what is your image, what is your focus, what if they come see you, what kind of care are they going to get, what services do you offer. Really getting a good target branding is so important. You want to find your ideal clients and you want to show them why you're the best place for them to go see you. It equalizes things. Now more than ever, small businesses can compete with large corporations. The amount of money it takes to market to the millions is a fraction of the cost of what it used to be. This digital age is so powerful to midwives. YouTube channels, Facebook groups, Google ads, websites, the list goes on and all these social media platforms you can get attached to that many of them are just free, and then you can get a following, you can get people to share, you can create this exponential effect of exposure that is a fraction of what it used to be. So sustaining your practice, there's certain levels we want to not shrink, we want to either sustain, you're at the comfort level where you want to be, or we want to grow to the next level. So your marketing campaigns are really about evolving and about morphing to that relationship that you want to keep your practice at their forefront mind. Maybe they're not pregnant right now, but 6 months from now they get pregnant. If you're not hinting and exposing your branding to them gently over the last 6 months, they may forget that you're out there. So you want to have gentle ways of engaging and exposing and getting that daily phone calls into your office to get consults. So engagement is so much fun. We take care of women between 18 to 40, and a lot of them are on the digital atmosphere. They're very interactive. They share things. They will do lots of research. You want to get your families in this virtual marketing world to engage. You want them to tell about their birth experiences, to share photos. You want them to do a good chunk of your marketing for you. So it sells. I mean, marketing is so important because you want to have a fraction of your business budget go towards your products and your services and your branding. If there's certain ideal clients you want to have a specific strategy, you want to have a direct. When we make a business plan, a good chunk of our time is discussing a competitive market analysis. What are your ideal clients? How are you going to tackle this? What systematic approach do you have to sell your products and services and where you want to go? So many people, we always talk about like an end game. Where do you want your practice to go? If you want to have a franchise, you want to have a team of 5 midwives, you've got to be able to have growth and compete. And you want to, if you want to add certain services, you need to let people know and aware you're adding a nurse practitioner, you're adding primary care services, you're adding lactation. You want them to know about these amazing growths that are happening with your practice so you can keep up with the trends that are going on. So this presentation is going to go over 50 different marketing ideas midwives can implement today. They're simple things. They're very creative and unique to what midwives can actually do. If you don't have any budget available for marketing, you're going to have to exchange time to do it. There's a lot of social media platforms. There's a lot of resources online that are no cost, but they take time. So you're going to have to commit something to do your marketing. My recommendations are to hire a marketer, create a budget for it, because the midwives' expertise is serving families. That's what we should be doing the most with our practice. Marketing is the lifeline. It creates your reputation. It creates who you are. It can make your practice successful or not successful. So you can give amazing care, but maybe there's someone out there misunderstanding what your services are. Now you're getting an influx of phone call for consults for stuff you really can't do. So it's really important to decrease the stress on your staff, increase the probability of ideal clients you want. If there's certain services you want to do more GYN versus births, you need to do marketing campaigns that direction. So marketing is just the lifeline. It truly, truly is for your practice. So the number one thing, midwives usually love to use this, referrals. We give phenomenal care, people tell about their birth stories. In time, 5, 6, 7 years, that is a great way, with giving good care and your reputation. Many midwives don't have websites, but they've been doing it for 20, 30 years. If you are a newer starting practice, or you want to add someone to your team and you want to increase your volume faster than the referrals are coming in, you have to have other options. But referrals are awesome. Make a referral program. If a client or a staff brings a referral in 5 times, you put them in a raffle, you give them a gift certificate. There's so many ways to appreciate our referrals and make a system of surveys to know when people and clients are coming in, where are they hearing about you from. Radio ads are nice. I hear there's a couple great midwifery practices that will do them on like some homeschool radio ads. You can do them on the big ones, but you want your money to go to the most cost-effective way. If you're doing it on a major radio station that 0.2%, 0.5% are actually going to be potential clients for you, you want to find a radio station that's a religious-based, large families, homeschoolers, some population that's more likely to choose out of hospital births.
Another great one that's really popular, and I know Casey Mesmer with Mesmer Marketing, that's one of her favorite, is to use Facebook. She's really good at the Facebook algorithms. You can create support groups, you can create a Facebook page, you can use your personal Facebook page to talk about your services and interact with your day-to-day life of being a midwife. There are so many wonderful ways with Facebook, and most of the generation and the clients you want to serve are going to be on that platform. YouTube channel, I know a few midwives that use this. It's quite time consuming. There's classes you should take to help understand the algorithms and understanding your intention of why you're creating a YouTube channel. Do you want to educate and inform to change the masses awareness of midwifery, or do you want to use it as a direct filtering to families with your practice and services? You need to be very have a team, have someone devoted to creating a YouTube channel. To what is the content going to look like? What's the flow? What's the thumbnails going to be on the videos? Editing the videos. There's a lot involved with YouTube, but it's definitely an option for you. Instagram and WhatsApp app are great resources. Instagram is getting more popularity. It's another platform that you can put pictures, images, phrases up, inspirational stories, sales that you have coming on, to try to get engagement to your clientele base. WhatsApp is more for an interactive. You could do surveys with it. You can create group discussions. If you want to do some center pregnancy, you want to do some events coming up with your practice, you could send a mass conversation. You just have to be very careful with HIPAA and those kind of things of potential clients versus current clients and discussions you have on those. But a lot of times you could just filter to a bunch of people some wonderful updates of your practice. Maybe a baby that was delivered that the family gave you permission to promote it, whatever the case may be. TikTok is a funner, younger generation platform. I'm starting to just tap into it more with our practice. You put down videos real time, 15 to 60 seconds that you record. It could be fun education. It could be resources. It could be, it could just be tips. It could be promotional products. The list goes on and on. But TikTok is definitely one people utilize. There's if you type in midwife, there's a lot of fun ones that are out there. Reddit is more of a platform where people want to have a voice and they recommend to each other. It's a form of referral engagement platform. There's not so much posting things and promoting your products. It's more of if you see comments and discussions around your specific content and you want to add some feedback and engagement and tips, because your goal is to become the expert in the community. So if you can repetitively, they say, oh my gosh, if you have a question about midwifery, you have a question about normal birth, XYZ, you want people to think of you and your practice to go to as the experts. So Clubhouse and Snapchat are other platforms that are available for you. They're not as popular as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, but they get a different age group. They're the newer trends. So the whole point of all these social media platforms is you want multiple directions of branding. There's a lot of great companies out there like Later.com that you can schedule to the masses a bunch of repetitive social media platforms to all these different areas, so you don't have to do it one at a time. So definitely you want to get a system in place. You want to figure out what makes the most sense for you to brand and put yourself out there, which platforms, and find a scheduling system that does a lot of them that you can just click and share it on all the different places. So Twitter and Pinterest. Pinterest is more pictures, but I have a lot of fun with Pinterest, putting up birth center plans, putting up sample policies, putting up fun marketing tools and templates for midwives, anything that can get you branded to your ideal clients that, wow, they're the experts. So for me in the consulting business, that's what I've done with Pinterest, but I've seen other midwives use that as an opportunity to discuss and put educational handouts about the stages of labor, about the contraction patterns, just anything you want to do to help with patient education, because then people are more likely to find you. Twitter is very similar to Facebook and all these other platforms. You put a little short hashtag content, you can attach a video, you can attach a link, so it's just another direction for people to follow you. LinkedIn is more of a professional base. It's more of people. It doesn't have as much on businesses, but I've really enjoyed LinkedIn. There's a system to it. You can connect with only a max per week and day, and so the last 8 months I've connected with over 3,000 people that are specific and strategic with midwives, nurses, nurse practitioners, PAs, physicians, healthcare administrators, because for my target and my services, those are the people I want to see have attachment to my thread. So if I post about an amazing blog or a video we did or a new product we have coming out on my own personal page, anybody I'm connected with is going to see it. So think of your clients. If you want to connect with your clients on a more professional level, if there's other midwives in the community, there's obstetricians you want to collaborate with, LinkedIn is a great professional networking community. Giveaways are my favorite. We love free stuff, and people like to have challenges. They like to have raffles. They like to have giveaways where you ask them to do XYZ and they get submitted. You could give away a birth. You could give away a tub. You could give away some consulting services. You could give away supplies, herbs, advice, like that. The list goes on what you can have as part of your giveaways. Samples are fun because it's something you put your logo on and you give to your customers, you give as a giveaway, you go network with a business in the area, and you want them to have exposure to you over and over again about your amazing product and service. So as midwives, it's not as much about giving them a tangible item that we sell unless you invented something. Most of the time it's a service, it's a quality thing, but you can give them samples of items that'll remind them of you often. So I had hand sanitizer bottles that I put our logo on. You can create labor fans, which are just those paper circles and a stick handle that they can use during the labor process that the family can take home afterwards. You can have one of those squeeze balls that when she's having a contraction, she's not breaking her husband's hand. She can use that has your logo on it. And it's a fun keepsake for them to take with them. Anything you can put your logo on, and you can give just samples of your products and your services and the quality that you're offering. Websites are so important in today's age. You don't have to go crazy and get an expensive website. You can go on GoDaddy, spend a couple $100, get a template, add some basic content. It just depends on how many people you want, how much education you want to put on it, how level of complex. But I see a lot of midwives, especially because they're quite busy, they just have a very outdated basic website and that's all they need. So you want to look, you want to put resources, you want to make yourself the expert, you want them to get to know you and your team really well. You want to have blog posts, you want to have a list of all your services, how they can contact you, where's your location. If you have a birth center and you're doing births directly, lots and lots of pictures of what your births look like. Pictures say 1,000 words, and so I can't stress that enough on a lot of these platforms, the YouTube, the social media. If you get permission to have pictures after the birth, the baby stories, the families contributing and sharing their story, that's going to be your most powerful marketing tools to have. T-shirts and onesies. With my practice, we had tons of t-shirts, and I still have tons of t-shirts. And I didn't brand them specifically to the company we had the logo on it, but it was more supporting midwifery because then I could wear it anywhere and I could wear it years later. So midwives are amazing. Call the midwife. We would do midwife at your cervix. We would do midwifery does matter. Home births are awesome. Like the sky's the limits what you can do. And the whole point is to get a conversation going. When we market, we're not just wanting to market to a potential client tomorrow that's going to call. There may be somebody 5 years from now, she met you as a teenager and she's not ready to have a baby or knows she can go see a midwife now for her first well woman care. Our whole point is to morph and change a culture of the awareness of midwifery and choices and options that are available. So I love my t-shirts. Whenever I'm wearing a t-shirt, it's always a midwife t-shirt, and the conversations that get started purely because they read my shirt is just, it's so awesome. Onesies are a cute keepsake after they're delivered. If they're born at home, they're born at the birth center. Those are those little extra touches that you can do that'll really stand out from the hospital system, your competitors, and the memories and the keepsakes. There's so many baby pictures taken, and if they take a picture in your onesie, it's shared in the masses, it's shared on the website. It's really going to have a ripple effect. Blogs are fun. Some people are good at writing, some people aren't. It doesn't have to be crazy long. It could be inspirational. You could put the birth stories up for the week. You could put some educational resources. You could literally take someone else's blog conversation and give them credit for it and just replicate it on your site if you thought it was a really interesting article that you want your followers to learn about. So you don't have to overcomplicate the blog post section, but it increases your credibility. You're the expert. You're here. you're the resource to go to XYZ for, and you get people to start thinking about things. So blogs are really helpful. The other direction with blogs, anytime you're updating your website regularly, the SEO, the search engine optimization, Google will put you higher on the list. So anytime you can make your website more interactive, you can connect resources, you can get articles out there, you can do interviews. The more you and your company get out there on other platforms and exposure, the higher you're going to be in the ranking. Warm market has to do more with your family and friends, particularly if you're getting started. Like, you want them to know what you just did for school, what your dreams and your visions are, all the exciting things going on in your life. I mean, at least with my family, we would see them all the time before COVID, and we would talk about what's going on in life. We would have discussions, and they would send a lot of people my way just because they'd be like, hey, my other cousin on the other side of the family has a question. Are you able to talk to them? So you want them to know, even if they're going to deliver in the hospital or they're a high risk delivery, you want to be branded as a midwife that's an advocate for families. And even if you don't know the answer, you know the best place to get them to, because you are the expert with birth. So you want your family members, you want your warm market to be your cheerleaders. So roadside signs, they're fun. You just get a metal stake. You can get those blank signs that don't have anything on them, and you could use a Sharpie. I did with Vistaprint. I loved Vistaprint. We would make quite a few roadside signs, and we would put them, if we had a client deliver with us, we'd get permission to put it in their yard, kind of like a realtor sign. When something is sold, we would put it in our own business locations, the community center, the birth center. You can scatter them all over the place. In many states, you have to get a licensure, some sort of approval with the regulations to put roadside signs up, like all over the highways and roads and things. So you definitely want to look into your local area. But as far as, like, they're cheap, they're long lasting, they stand out, and you just want your business to be seen in the physical form and the virtual form. Billboards are quite expensive. I had a billboard for a little while with our practice, and so it's all a risk benefits of how many clients are you going to get from them seeing that billboard. So if you are a higher volume, bigger practice, it might make financial sense for a billboard, but most of the time for smaller home birth practices, it just doesn't make financial sense. But it's very, very powerful. If you want to change your community and you put a sign up on a highway about promoting midwifery services in general, that's how you change it on the mass level. Pens, it's similar to those free samples, the promotional items. You're going to use pens all over your practice, and if you can have branded special pens, we bought probably, I think, 5,000, and they lasted like 10 years, but it was so dirt cheap. About 500 pens for $200, and our families would take them home. They'd use them for registration. They were everywhere. They spread like wildfire. They'd have our name, our number, anything we wanted to have on it. So pens are a great thing to they spread your name over and over again. Birth center open houses, meeting the midwife, those type of meet and greets where it's informal. If somebody is curious but they don't feel quite comfortable to call and make their first visit, it's a laid back opportunity. It's a laid back opportunity for birth centers and midwives to just let people come and be nosy, let the nurses, let the hospital system, let the physicians that really are curious what we do here, but they don't want to become a patient. So you want to integrate yourself well into the healthcare system. You want to integrate yourself well into the community. So leaving your doors open, having anniversary open houses, having summer parties in the parking lot, making it really about a laid back community focus will really accelerate your success faster. Community business networking groups. You want to network with the best of the best. You want to network with doulas, chiropractors, physicians. If there's family practice physicians that refer out their obstetrics, why don't they just refer to you? Like, give them an opportunity to learn about your services, what you are, and what clients you take. Private practice, family practice, doctors tend to also want to refer to a private practice obstetrician. And if they have low risk, healthy women, they can refer them to a midwifery practice. So you want to really network with the ones that come and interact with the clients that, like I was even surprised, hairdressers. You go to your hairdresser, where do women go over and over again? Spas, nail salons, hair, anywhere that women are regularly at. Those hairdressers talk to a lot of women, and if you can get your information, you can educate them. That is a great creative referral option. Newsletters, you can have them electronic, you can have them in person, you could have it 1 page, you can have it 20 pages. It's just another opportunity to get your branding, your knowledge, your expertise, even updates with the practice. If you want to tell them about some great resources you connected with, you want to tell them about some upcoming events in the community, you can make your articles and newsletters whatever you want. Business cards are so important. When you network with somebody, you put up on a board as someone else's resource. You want to have a very professional, strong looking business card. It tells a lot about you. It tells about your services, how they can get a hold of you, and gives the image of the type of clients you want to serve. So really think about it. This is a sample one someone does for doula and belly casting. It's very simple. It's crisp. And so for midwifery services, if you want to do well woman care, you're not going to show a picture of a pregnant woman. You're going to show a picture of the services you want to offer. Email campaigns are so powerful. There's so many. MailChimp you can do free. With my GoDaddy, I can do it free. There's so many great ones out there. Some of them have drip systems. Some of them have autoresponders. Some of them have reminders about upcoming events. Email campaigns are great for current clients, potential clients, and someone that just wants to subscribe on your website to simple updates of what's going on. Expos are a lot of fun. You get to meet interactive. I would go to wedding expos. I would go to women's expos. I would go to business expos just so I can network with people. You want the more exposure. You're out there, you exist, and what are you all about? It always would break my heart when I would meet someone and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I had my baby 6 months ago. I wish I would have known you existed. That is when I know I'm not doing a good enough job to market our services. So attend the expo, be the expert. I loved creating a breastfeeding feeding station at like women's expos and anything because that stands out. We're advocating for breastfeeding, and it was something that got people to sit and hang out with us, get some water station, and get some conversations going. Health fairs, you can promote the quality of midwifery, the history of midwifery, the improving outcomes. There's a lot of great benefits to being at health fairs for local health systems, schools. There's so much potential. I even would go to job fairs when kids in high school were trying to learn about all the different jobs they could ever get. I loved going to those. Those may not be my clients today for birth, but they're almost 17, 18, sexually active, doing their first well women visit, getting birth control. I can still take care of teenagers, and how amazing it would be to get them started with us right away when they don't even know their options with the healthcare system. Mom groups are fun. There's a lot of different mom groups. There's breastfeeding support groups, there's homeschooling, there's moms to moms. Our whole point is we want to increase our referral basis. We want to get people talking about your amazing care and services and what you have to offer. So there's virtual groups, there's in-person groups, there's garage sale groups. If you see feedback, like a lot of these groups, I don't like to call it trolling, but you get yourself part of it and you watch, and if there's conversations going where you can add your expertise, you can add your recommended resources, including your practice, to them, it's really powerful. College class presentations. I always had fun going to community college, universities, and just talking to nursing students, talking to women's health specialty, any degree that tends to be more dominated with females. I would ask to do a class with them. And it's not a bad idea just to go to a general education class, a health class, and talk to the men and the women in the class about what are midwives, what is the history of birth, what are their options? Because how are we going to change a culture without focusing on the next generation before they even have defined what is culturally normal yet? So in-network insurance, there's pros and cons to being in-network. You take an agreed upon fee schedule. It's typically lower than what you get for cash or out of network. But the benefit is if all your competition is in-network, you really are going to have a hard time competing unless the quality or care and the affordability of what the families can do is there. If you're in network with the Affordable Care Act, it covers the provider's maternity services and newborn services 100%. And I always stress most of the time that's a hospital setting. Some of them will still cover home births, but you just have to look into those in specific plans. The other benefit to being in network, when they're recommending, someone calls their insurance plans and says, hey, here's my zip code, who is in network in my radius? You want to be part of that list. Sometimes that's the way. They don't even do the research online. They're only calling their insurance company, who do you cover? And I'm going to look through that list. You want to be on that list. Radio talks. Whether you create your own radio, your own podcast, or you're on other people's radio and podcast, it just reinforces you're the expert. If there's any questions about birth, maternity care, access to resources, options, you want to be branded as the expert and the one that they hear the name over and over and over again. Networking can be so many different ways. It could be the doulas, it could be the chiropractors, it could be the doctors in the area that don't do obstetric services. I've networked with dentists before. I've networked with practically everyone. Just get your name out there, say hello, have a conversation. It was part of my regular routine. Each week I would make 3 phone calls to practices I found online. I would send some emails out. We would do some cross referral basis to learn about each other's services. Parades are a lot of fun. Young families go to parades. You can hand out candy. You can hand out brochures and flyers. It's local community. It's family oriented. There's so many different. There's the Memorial Day parades. There's 4th of July parades. There's so many different holiday festival parades in different areas. So we had a lot of fun just walking the parades and talking about midwifery and just getting the awareness out. You can create flyers, you can do brochures. These are great things to email. These are great things to mail out. They're things to put on a table in your waiting area. You just want something really beautiful that tells about your services, your products, your mission, your history, something that's concrete. It's like your fancy elevator speech that they can give to their friends, their family, especially at new OB visits. I had it in all of our packages for the families to take home. Pay-per-click has its pros and cons. The pay-per-click, the challenge is it gets expensive quickly, and they're usually paying for people that are pretty unlikely to choose your services. And there's different kinds of pay-per-clicks. You can have it with YouTube, you can have it with Facebook, you can have it with Google, you can have it with so many different platforms. So there's pros and cons to pay-per-clicks and how the algorithms are set up in the backdrops. So I do encourage midwives to talk to marketers and see if this for their type of clients, services, and plan makes sense to invest into. Testimonials, on top of just getting referrals from clients, if you can get in writing, have part of your 6-week postpartum visit, your survey, their satisfaction, ask permission to talk about their birth and have them write you a story, a testimonial that you can directly promote all over the place. You can put it on your flyers, your website, anything that the families are going to see. You can just ask them to go on your Facebook group and put a testimonial, a Google review, a Facebook review. The more that they see your name on these shared groups, these natural chit chat conversations, you want over and over again them to say, this is the midwife that's amazing, pick her. Brochures, it's similar to the flyers. It tends to be more trifold. It tends to be more educational focused. You can get a lot more information on a brochure than you can a flyer, and having a couple different versions of that in your office, it really makes a difference of what type of services you want to offer, what pictures, what's the branding, the color scheme. You want to make sure everything with your branding products has a consistent feel to it. Accredited organizations, you can have them list on your website. You become a member with them. They'll list you on the directory. So like in Michigan, we have a Midwives Association list. And that's if you were a potential client and you became pregnant and you Google search and you said midwives in Michigan, what's going to come to the list? If there's certain things that you see you want to be part of. So the American College of Nurse Midwives has a midwifery directory, the birth center affiliation with AABC. Sometimes you have to become a member and sometimes you just pay a fee to get listed. But these are really important things. If you have a birth center, but you're not listed on the American Association of Birth Center, that to me sends a little red flags. These are the national experts and they're not even listing you in their directories. Why? Or people dismiss you. So think about all the different ways that you can have your midwifery practice in a directory that's nationally recognized. Doulas are definitely, they're like your best friend. We don't want to be mean to our doulas. We want to collaborate with them. They're going to send clients to us just as much as if we send clients to them. So doulas are really powerful. They're going to advocate for birth, and families that tend to choose doulas are one step closer to choosing a midwife. So we really want to have the great close-knit relationship with the doulas in our area. Calendars were a fun one for me. We made small magnets and we gave them to them in their first OB visit. They would go up on their calendar. It wasn't so much that it had specific things to our midwifery practice. It was branded. It had their contact information. I would joke this was a great way to get a hold of us in labor if dad didn't have the phone number listed already in his phone, that he could just look at the magnet. But the magnets stay on a calendar, on a fridge for a whole year. If you have a paper calendar, they're up for a whole year. People come and go in their houses all the time. They're looking at pictures on the refrigerator. They're looking at the magnets. They're looking at this stuff. So if you can have every opportunity possible to put your branding virtually in their face at the waiting rooms, the office, their house, every little exposure. If you make educational handouts, make sure you got your logo, your contact information. Any exposure we can give is really helpful. TV ads, there's pros and cons to them. I made a TV ad with Call the Midwife. Like, how perfect and appropriate is that? So it was very affordable with PBS, and when the local area would do Call the Midwife, because most likely people that are watching this show love midwives, love the history of midwifery. Maybe it's a grandma that loves midwives. They may just not even know there's a real Call the Midwives that's actually serving their community right now. So there may be some pros and cons to having some TV ads. I loved having my ad on the Call the Midwife show. Sign outside your office. If there's already an established one that's like a certain size that you can put up a billboard, people drive by it all the time. That's why I love, like with a home birth practice, you tend to go to home visits. People don't know you're there as an office. It's more of an underground connection where they have to know the right people to find you. If you have a birth center, you have a home birth practice, you have an actual physical location. Have signs up in the yard, have signs up on the door, have signs, window clings, like anything you can do that screams this building delivers babies, it shares, it supports midwifery model of care. People drive by it all the time and you want them to know this is where a midwife is providing services. Conferences, educational events, it just depends. Conferences, educational events, if you're a midwife that's doing more the professional side and you want to connect and provide services to midwives, I love conferences. Conferences, educational events aren't as much for consumers, but there may be a local breastfeeding chapter, there may be, but it tends to be healthcare providers. So if you want to network and get a better relationship and be experts among your healthcare system, definitely speak at an A1 conference, speak at a midwifery conference, show your value of your knowledge, your skills, your training. That's going to change the face of midwifery as a whole, not just trying to specifically target to the clients you want to serve. So branding is just a very generalized term. Branding is getting a consistent color, theme, size of font, logo design. You want to have a very strategic plan for branding. When you create a flyer, a brochure, a TV ad, a magnet, you want them to all flow very smoothly together. The waiting room, I don't think midwives take advantage of this enough. Put up a simple TV and create a PowerPoint slideshow educational opportunity. People are sitting in your waiting room to be seen. You can have magazines there, you can have educational handouts, you can have resources of people in the community, but people watch TV. And so if you can have a slideshow going and you could rotate it, some educational things, especially dads are going to be with them, partners, grandmas and grandpas, talk about the fun stats with midwifery, talk about some exciting births you've had going on, talk about a new member of your team. That is a great opportunity for you to promote your services. Maybe they didn't know you did birth control. Maybe they didn't know you do menopausal therapy. And now the grandma came for the prenatal visit with her granddaughter, and now she's going to make an appointment with you because she didn't even know you offered those services. So it's really nice. We see people repetitively. We have family members that come in with them for the visits. You could have so many potential clients. They're already trusting your services for their family member that you're going to have such a ripple effect of opportunity there. Donating to charities, there's two parts to that. You can save a bunch on taxes if you're in a high income bracket and you're at a place with your midwifery practice where you bought your supplies you need and you need some great tax strategies. But the other benefit is bragging about the places you donate to, putting on fun updates on social media, on your website, in a newsletter, in the office. This is a place we support regularly. Maybe it's a local food group, maybe it's a local advocacy for low-income families, getting doula services, getting reimbursement. Maybe there's a grant that you're working to get. The sky is the limit, but promote. You are giving back to your community, and that shows so much credibility and faith that you really care about making things better. So last but not least, photos. There's two parts to this. Photographers can be invited to the birth, part of like a doula role. The pictures speak so loud. Like, people can write their birth stories, but if they have a video and they put it up on YouTube, they have pictures, it tells their story. People love to watch home birth and birth center videos on YouTube, and we want to brand, we want to get ourselves out there. I had fun with a photographer that I didn't want to buy a bunch of artwork and random things for my birth center, so I bartered with her that she was exclusively who I referred to. We promoted at the practice. All of her frames and her photos had her branding on it. She was down the street. And so my entire birth center had beautiful artwork of moms, babies, families that I didn't have to pay anything for, and she just put them up on the walls, and it was a nice win-win situation. So I always stress to people, think creatively. It doesn't always have to be about money, but you need to create value somehow. When you're going to barter something with someone, how are you going to make a win-win situation? So there's a lot of potentials with photography services, with just getting that beautiful artwork within your practice. So we went over a lot of different marketing campaigns, and each person's situation is different. You run a home birth practice versus a birth center versus women's health clinic versus a hospital, or maybe you're not doing any direct midwifery clinical care. You're doing educational services, consulting work. There's so many great ways to market your services, and that's what I love helping people with. We do a lot of marketing campaigns together. We do a lot of strategic planning. I want your practice to be very successful, and sometimes having an objective outside person looking and giving you some ideas will really bring your practice to the next level. Thank you so much for your time.